Michael, first up, explain for everyone at home, what is a battle management system? How does it work? And how on earth does a contract get 15 years down the track before this sort of security issue is identified?
Well, Peter, the battle management system and tactical communication are really about how the Army moves data around between its units and formations. And that means how it can command and control its forces when they're engaged in military operations, from the forward headquarters and to all of the vehicles and personnel. Taking 15 years, though, to digitise the Australian Army, which is what this project and this contract have done to date, just doesn't make sense. You know, it's about a 30,000 person organisation. Imagine any private company saying, guess what, digitising our organisation is our highest priority. 15 years on, it still hasn't happened, and it's got another 10 years to go if the current contract delivers. So I think it's been a mistake by the Defence Organisation to take such a long time to do something so important, and clearly there needs to be a better way.
Just briefly, what are the actual security concerns that ASD have about the project? What's the backdoor argument here?
Well, I think that's very hard to tell. I mean, this is speculation. There's been no actual announcement out of the Defence Organisation, and you certainly wouldn't expect the Signals Directorate, one of the most classified parts of Defence, to be out on the front foot. But security of moving data around between those operational units is obviously a key feature you want from your battle management system. But back to my starting point with this, a magical journey that's going to take a quarter of a century to digitise the Army is the wrong plan. Maybe we should be looking at going from the inside of the Army at the enterprise out to the deployed forces, not building it from the outside in. Secure cloud technology with mobile 5G and radios connected to that might well be a better path.
Yeah, I guess if it's 15 years of a failed project, we're talking about technology in a fast-moving area that's now 15 years old. And I've got to wonder whether it takes a tough-minded minister like Peter Dutton to come in and call an end to this project. I mean, Defence is littered with projects, helicopter failures, ammunition bungles, issues with tanks, issues with subs, changing the minister all the time, and particularly if there's been weak ministers. These projects survive because officials don't want to call time on them, or there might be retired admirals or generals out there putting pressure on them. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff I think that people don't understand that goes on in defence procurement. Is this a good decision by Peter Dutton?
Probably is, and I think it's backed by the Australian National Audit Office's look at this project. Essentially, they said, look, there might be a functional system at the end of all this, but it's taking a very long time, and really the way Defence has gone about managing it has been a bad story. You know, pushing work that's too hard out into later phases, underfunding the work for what they wanted done. So it's no surprise we've got to this point.
Is it because we don't understand these projects? Is it because we change government in this country so often? Is it because it's complex and most ministers sitting there don't understand it? I do note with this particular project, Christopher Pyne, who was the minister, who could perhaps have sorted it out, is now, we're told, acting as a lobbyist for the company. Why are we having these multi-billion-dollar repeat failures in this portfolio?
I think the procurement machine is great for slow food, you know, those long-term complex things like major ships and really complex big pieces of technology. Fast-moving digital technology like this, we really need another approach to procurement that moves at the speed the technology does. And I think that is the fundamental problem here. And if Minister Dutton is thinking about a new fast food capability machine to supplement the slow food movement that's traditional defence procurement, he'll be on the right track.
I want to go, if I can, to the Middle East. I want to get your thoughts on this story that Australia has only listed one of the offshoots of Hezbollah as a terrorist organisation. Now, it would appear we're at odds with other Five Eyes partners over this. Is it time now, more than ever, perhaps, to list all of the various arms of Hezbollah as a terrorist organisation?
I think it is. It's very hard to try and disentangle Hezbollah. So the political direction is what decides when to use its armed wing, including its external security organisation. The fact is that Hezbollah is a really effective, capable terrorist organisation with thousands of rockets and missiles that it uses against others in Syria, against Israel, and it's a threat to Middle Eastern security and stability. Seeing it for what it is, an armed terrorist organisation with heavy political direction, is the right assessment. And I think lining up with our other partners to do that is the right thing.
Do you get a sense the government will move that way?
I hope so. There's some other complexity there. There's a large Lebanese ethnic community in Australia with family connections into Lebanon. We've got Australian Defence Force personnel deployed in various UN peacekeeping outfits around Lebanon and supervising truces, that kind of thing. So there are some security things to think through, but it's hard to escape that fundamental fact that Hezbollah is a dangerous armed terrorist group that's a source of grave instability in the Middle East.